Hey guys, and welcome back to the Carry My Heart podcast. I'm Carrie. Thanks so much for joining me here today. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at KECogan. You can also find a Ravelry group for this podcast just by searching Carry My Heart podcast on Ravelry. And if you feel so inclined, you can go read my blog, which you can find at kerryecogan.blogspot.com. So thank you so much for joining me here today. If you are a new viewer, welcome. I really appreciate having you. And if you're returning, even better. That's what I love. It makes me just so happy that you're coming back. So yay. Obviously, I'm a few days late for this episode, for which I apologize. School has been so crazy and busy these last few weeks that as much as I've been wanting to podcast, I just feel like I haven't been able to really dedicate the time to it, unfortunately. But thanks for sticking around despite the inconsistencies. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So today I want to share a little podcast love because it's been a few episodes since I've mentioned some podcasts that I've really been enjoying. And the first one is Sockcetera with Shannon, who seems so incredibly sweet. I really love her podcast, especially this past podcast episode that she posted, because she just seems so incredibly genuine. And I love that she really tries to stay true to who she is. And that is so refreshing to me. So Shannon, I just love your podcast so much. I've truly been enjoying it. And I'm also really excited that you're hosting your, what are you calling it? Your Blanket Blitz knit along, because as you will see later in this episode, I have some news regarding that. So I also want to give some podcast love to Cassandra of Risen Knits. I just recently discovered Cassandra's podcast this past week, and I love it so far. I am absolutely obsessed with the knitwear that Cassandra has been designing. She just released a pattern for what she's calling her Cobain top, and I love it so much. I am on the hunt for the perfect yarn so that I can start it, because I know it's going to be just a really great top for the summer. So, and that's, I'm on the prowl for patterns for this summer because, it's getting a little warmer here. It was up in the 80s this past Monday. Today it is Wednesday, and unfortunately it's back into the 40s. But Chicago is having sneak peeks of warmer weather, and so I'm trying to find some patterns that will be really nice to knit up during the warmer months. I wouldn't say that I stopped knitting during the summer, but I definitely stopped using really heavy yarns and wool yarns because they just make my hands sweaty, and then it makes just knitting with the yarn kind of icky. So I'm on the prowl for some new patterns, and Cassandra has some gorgeous pieces that I really want to knit up. So, and last but not least is a podcast that everybody knows about, but I still feel compelled to talk about it because it's amazing. And that would be Inside Number 23 with Katie. She is just a delight. I love her podcast so much. It doesn't matter what kind of mood I'm in. I always get such a thrill out of watching her podcast. She is so enthusiastic and lovely. And this past week, she actually took a little staycation from work and she did some vlog style videos, which were really fun to watch. And as a novice sewer, I got a lot of inspiration. She just seems like this sewing master, and I really am inspired by her podcasting. So those are the 3 podcasts that I want to mention. And so thank you, ladies, for your amazing work, because Y'all really, really inspire me with your podcasts. So now I'm just going to dive into my works in progress. So the first work in progress is one that I have been working on since the very first episode of this podcast, but it's because it's pretty slow going. So this is my Japanese knot bag from Lavender Hill Knits, which you can find on Etsy. And inside is my my Tiffany triangle shawl. And something in there is making a lot of noise. But so my Tiffany triangle shawl, which I am knitting using Knit Picks gloss lace yarn. And this is the colorway Port. And slowly but surely, this shawl is growing. I really need to get it on a bigger needle because it's growing. But it's growing slowly. I will say that for sure. Lace weight yarn it's gorgeous, but I feel like I make no progress. But that's okay because I'm still really enjoying this. And even if, I don't get to wear it until the fall, that's okay too. So really, really enjoying this pattern. The yarn is so pretty. The color is so pretty. And I love it. So I actually finished up chart B. I am on to chart C, which will probably take a while. But then after chart C, there's only one more chart after that. So I wouldn't say I'm halfway because I'm only going to get more stitches on my needles, but in terms of how many charts I have left, I'm halfway. So really, really loving this. It's so pretty. I need to work on it more because I've been really into my other work in progress, which is my Antarctic shawl number 2, which I am keeping in my YarnCon bag, which I scored for free at YarnCon, which was awesome. So, but I had to keep it in this giant tote bag because this shawl has grown significantly. It has gotten quite large relative to my other Antarctic shawl because I am knitting this using sport weight yarn as opposed to fingering weight yarn, which is what the pattern actually calls for. But it has grown. It is getting there. I only have one more lace repeat before I do the edging. So it's going super fast, even faster than the first Antarctic shawl that I made. I think because now I know the pattern really, really well, and so it's just flying, and I love it. So, and it's also going to be huge, like I said, because I'm using sport weight yarn. This is Hawthorne Sports from Knit Picks, and this is the Selwood colorway, which is really, really pretty. It just sort of makes me want to go to the ocean and sit on the beach and knit. So, loving my Antarctic shawl. It's an amazing pattern. If you have had any inclination to knit this pattern, I definitely encourage you to do it because the finished product is gorgeous and it's a super easy, mindless knit. So my next work in progress is one that you've never seen before. And going back to what I said about Shannon of the Socksetera podcast and her blanket blitz knit along, I don't really have anything to show you much, but I jumped on the bandwagon and I have decided to start making a Cozy Memories blanket. I am literally still making my first square. I had quite a bit more progress on this. I'd almost finished it, and then I messed it up somewhere, and I decided I wanted to cast on a fewer stitches. So I ripped it all out and started over again. But I can see why people love their Cozy Memories blankets so much, because it's giving me an opportunity so far to work with yarn I've never worked with. This is yarn from Essential Fiber. I am not sure of the colorway because it wasn't listed. I literally just got this as a mini when I went to YarnCon. But that being said, I am so in love with this color. I picked it up because I'm not really an orange person. But that being said, I think I might be becoming an orange person because it is so gorgeous. There's just reds and yellows and this really subtle orange, and it's gorgeous. So the only thing I would say about the yarn is that it's a little bit splitty, especially using smaller needles, but I'm still enjoying it for sure. So stay tuned for more Cozy Memory blanket goodness on future episodes, because this is definitely going to become a regular part of my episodes from here on out. So that is all for my works in progress, and I want to move on to some acquisitions. And the first acquisition that I have to show you is actually this set of needles that I am using. This is the Knitter's Pride Cubics. I'm assuming this is just the their nickel based needles, and this is a US 2.5 3mm needle. And I actually got this from my friend Gina. I met Gina actually on Instagram, and then we are mutually part of a Chicago knitters group that meets monthly, I would say. And she did not enjoy using these needles, and so decided to pass them on to somebody else to try, and I'm actually really enjoying them. I like the different feel of the square needle in my hand, and so far so good. So, and I'm also really in love with the actual cable itself because it's super flexible. So as someone who has only used Knit Picks needles in the past, I am definitely understanding why everybody loves these needles. So it's because the cables are so amazing. So, and my next acquisition is some yarn. So I mentioned in episode 4, I believe, when I was giving my YarnCon recap, that I had some regrets of not buying some yarn that I saw there. And so I went ahead and ordered it. This is from Essential Fiber, which is the same yarn company that I have my minis blanket. This mini that I'm working on is from Essential Fiber. And this is their Essential Fingering weight yarn, which is 412 yards, and it is 50% Southwest Merino, 50% Tencel. And I love the name of the colorway. This is her April colorway of the month, and her colorways of the month are always named after movie quotes, and this is "But a lot of guys call me Shauna," which, as a Chicagoan, I love because it is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So I was so drawn to this yarn because I think it looks like a cat. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty much why I bought it. Like I said, I'm not usually an orange person, but I'm really excited to have something new in my stash. This is just a really beautiful soft orange, and then it has some grays and blacks mixed in as well. And I love it so much. Like I said, it just looks like a cat to me, which, having no cats of my own, but being a huge cat person, guess I'm getting my cat fix in weird ways. So really, really loving this yarn. And then my next acquisition is not knitting or yarn related at all, but I picked up the prettiest little plant at the grocery store, and I just had to share it. This is, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look over my show notes, an ornithogalum flower. I could be saying that totally wrong, but I believe it's also known as like the Star of Bethlehem plant. I really could be messing this up entirely and completely misleading you, but It was $5 at the grocery store, and I could not say no because it is so pretty. And it already has some new growth on it, which is really, really exciting, especially since my apartment is not entirely conducive towards growing plants. I only have north-facing windows, and so I get no direct sunlight during the day. And this past summer and fall, I tried to grow some herbs to no avail. They died about 3 weeks later, not because I wasn't tending to them, but just because they were not getting enough sun, which was sad. But I think this guy is doing pretty good. He still needs some sun, but I think indirect is okay. And so just so pretty. And yeah, I wanted to share my new little plant with you all. So that is all for acquisitions. And now I want to move on to some spinning. So I am still working on the 1 ounce balls of merino top that I acquired from Vogue Fabrics in Evanston, Illinois. I finished up what I want to do with the lemon colorway, and so it is just looking really, really nice in my opinion. I'm really, really thrilled with how my singles have been looking. And I have not been doing as much spinning as I would like in the past week or so, but I'm definitely excited to do some more spinning. I already know which color I'm going to use next. So I really want to spin enough to just make a beautiful hank of yarn. And I'm excited to see how the colors are going to line up when I ply them together, because I'm just going to do a standard 2-ply and have that, what I think is a really gorgeous barber pulling effect. So yay for spinning. And actually that is all I have this week. I have, like I said, not been getting as much knitting done as I would like because I have just been so busy with school. I feel like it's never ending. And as soon as I finish filming here and get this edited really quickly, it's back to the homework grind for me. A lot of papers to write, a lot of math homework to do. So yeah, I don't know if I've ever mentioned, but I am in school getting my master's in education to teach high school math. I got my undergraduate degree from Georgia Tech in applied mathematics, and now I am at DePaul University here in Chicago getting my master's in education. So I have a little over a year left in my program, and it's kind of scary. But I've really, really been enjoying most of my classes. I have a professor right now who is so amazing, and I'm really, really grateful that I've been enjoying her class so much, because it's not always the case. In fact, one of my other classes I'm really not enjoying because it kind of feels like a colossal waste of time. But that being said, thanks for sticking around the podcast despite me being so busy and inconsistent with my uploading. I really, really appreciate all of you. So until next time, I wish you the best and have a happy Wednesday. Bye, guys.